All righty, we are live. Jesse, how's it going, man? We're back for Insider Betting, bro.
Doing great. Happy to be here. It's been a while since I've talked some bare knuckle, so I'm pretty excited. Anytime it's Mike Perry fight week, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty amped up, jacked up. So I'm excited.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm pumped for the Mike Perry fight. And I love how the fight before it is actually a championship fight as well. And it's a heavyweight championship fight. So
yeah,
those are fun. That's a guaranteed knockout, I'd say.
Well, it's when you're talking about Juggernaut, you're talking about the Juggernaut who's actually going for 3-division glory. Believe it or not, he's I believe a middleweight, light heavyweight. I don't know the exact divisions. I apologize to those watching that know. But he is going for 3-division glory in Bkfc. So it hasn't been done. I know that there was talk about Alex Pereira doing this in the UFC. Would he become a heavyweight champion from being a middleweight champion to a light heavyweight to a heavyweight champion? Juggernaut shared a graphic on his Instagram comparing himself to Alex Pereira. So he wants to go after that glory as well. So he's going for it this weekend, which is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome storyline.
That's incredible. I'd love to see it.
Yeah. Lorenzo Hunt is his name, by the way. If you don't know who Juggernaut is, Lorenzo Hunt.
Correct. Hell of a character.
Yeah, he is. Strong personality. Yeah. I like the guy, though. I like the guy a lot. I've talked to him a couple times. He's a nice guy.
Totally. Yeah, you need that in fighting, though, right? I think we talked about it on our fight season podcast earlier this week, how we need more personalities in fighting. So it's always nice to see. But awesome. Okay, so today, for everyone that's tuning in, today we're going to be going over Knucklemania, Bkfc, and then we're going to jump into some of our UFC picks. To summarize, last week we actually went 6 for 6, which was incredible. I believe, right? In the PFL, correct. We went 6 for 6 in the PFL. We I actually put down a parlay on our picks, and I believe it came up with around plus 6,000 odds or something like that. I know I put a $5 bet on it. It returned 150. I was very happy. So
bump up those numbers, bro.
I know. I was like, let's start small. Let's see where we go. I got to bet bigger this week, which with these picks, I definitely am, because I'm excited for these fights. So
I wanted to post it on our Instagram to brag, but I was like, man, we just look like low rollers, $5 bets. By the way, sorry, go ahead. Okay, if you are watching right now, by the way, feel free to comment and let us know any bets that you liked from this weekend, any fights that you're looking forward to, any questions you have. Feel free to chime in.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's start with our picks for the weekend. Who do you got for Bkfc, Jesse?
Well, a little tough to find any prop bets on this one, so I think let's just go money line on these.
Yeah, I agree.
For the Lorenzo Hunt fight, you're going to get better odds, because with the Mike Perry fight, he's a much heavier favorite. So I would focus, if you're going to bet money line in either one of these fights, I would bet money line on Lorenzo Hunt. He is fighting up a weight class, and he's going up against Mick Terrell, who is a natural heavyweight. So he is going to have a bit of a size advantage, but he doesn't have the boxing capability that Juggernaut has. Juggernaut's like a real boxer. Like, he is a real striker. If you don't remember, in one of his last fights, he actually got knocked down by Mick Parkin, and it was like going to be a huge upset. He gets dropped, gets right back up, and then knocks Parkin out with like 5 seconds left to go in the round. It was like an unbelievable comeback, one of like the best comebacks you'll see in Bkfc. The dude's built from like a different cloth. He's like a genuine bare knuckle savant. At minus 225, I think you're getting incredible odds on Juggernaut. I really do. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but like, I think those are very good odds for somebody of his caliber of a fighter.
I agree. And yeah, unfortunately, the odds on Mike Perry aren't too great. It's minus 525. Unfortunately, not a lot of betting providers will give you odds for these fights. So if you are going to bet on it, I would toss just a very small parlay on on Lorenzo Hunt and Mike Perry parlay, both money line. Keep it simple, win some money. I think those are probably, including UFC, those are probably our 2 biggest locks of the night. But I won't give them that title yet, because we have some other locks coming later on.
Yeah, and that's not to say Thiago Alves can't win as much. That like he's excited about this matchup because he feels like Eddie Alvarez quit in their last fight. So he's excited about fighting a guy that's going to force him to put him on the mat, that's going to go out on his shield. Alves hasn't fought for like 4 years or something like that. Maybe it might be longer. Last fight that I see is from him in the UFC in 2019. He was on like a 2-6 stretch over his final 8 fights. He had lost like 4 of his last 5 or something. So he's not on a good run. He has had some time off, but Perry's been active. He is the Bkfc GOAT, essentially. He is the king of violence. He is their number 1 star. He's not losing this fight. He's not losing to Thiago Alves. So I wouldn't bet it on the money line, but throwing him in a parlay, I think, is a very good decision.
I agree. Cool. Well, unfortunately, we can't dive deeper into Bkfc, although I would have loved to. But UFC, big weekend. Well, actually, for UFC standards, it's a small weekend, but it's a massive weekend for the fighters participating. I took a look at a lot of the fights. It feels like a redemption week for a lot of these fighters. A lot of them are coming off of a loss, or they've had a very recent loss. So I want to keep it positive. I don't want to say some of these guys are on their chopping blocks, but there's a very good chance some of these fighters are. So I think it means a lot for these fighters this weekend. So I think we're going to see some great fights. But yeah, do we want to, Jesse, how do you want to go about this? Do we want to go over some of our picks, or do we want to kind of go fight by fight and see how things are and kind of take our picks there?
Well, I think that there are like a lot of fights that people wouldn't know because there are some smaller names on this card, but I do think there's like some value in some of these picks. So I think maybe let's just go with like a few of our picks, and then maybe we'll break down the main card, and then we'll also give like a few of our bets that we think are worth considering on this on this card.
Like that. Well, let's work our way up. I'd like to start with our latest guest on Inside Fighting. We put up an interview with her today. Ivana Petrovic. She is a massive favorite going in against, and apologies if I mispronounced this, but it's Na Liang, I believe.
Na Liang, yeah.
Yeah. Petrovic is minus 535, while Liang is plus 400. I think she's a lock. I know she's been training in Croatia. She's been going very, very hard. I know, Jesse, you talked to her earlier today. So what's the vibe you got?
Talked to her 2 days ago, actually. Just posted the interview yesterday, posted the social media footage today, just so people are aware. But go check it out. It's up there. What's interesting about her is she talked to me about how she's sort of reinventing herself a little bit, that she really wanted to put an emphasis on her striking and becoming like a better kickboxer, becoming a better striker, because that was like, I guess, like one of the knocks on her. And so I'm interested in, if you were to bet on this. Unfortunately, DraftKings does not have prop bets for this fight, but I do think she's a lock to win. If they do introduce some prop bets, I would highly consider betting on a TKO finish, because I do think that she is ready to showcase her kickboxing. She made it clear to me as much, so that would be my way of betting this fight.
Nice.
But yeah, no, that is a prelim fight, so I think we should focus on fights that are specific bets, and then we'll break down the main card, is sort of what I was saying.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Okay, well, if you're just tuning in, we're going over some UFC this weekend, what our picks are. If you have any comments or if you have any questions, make sure to leave them, and we will touch on them at the end. There we go. What's up, brother?
Champion.
We love it. Cool. Well, one fight I'm super excited for. Did you say you want to work your way up from bottom up, or you want to just kind of talk about fights we're excited about this weekend?
Let's do the main card, and then we'll give our picks for the bets that we like.
Like that.
Because we might have to save a couple of them, because we might come across them when we're talking about this. We'll just see who we got, and then we'll do our bets from there.
Nice. So speaking of redemption fighters, Ryan Spann. He's coming off of 2 losses, but he's a minus 198 favorite going into the weekend against Bogdan Guskov. It sounds like Bogdan called out Anthony Smith after his last fight. I don't know if he's going to do the same this fight, but we haven't seen much of Bogdan in the UFC. This is only his 3rd fight. He did look super impressive against Zach Pauga. So I would go heavily money line on Bogdan being a plus 164. I think that's a good bet. At the same time, I would also put in a bet for over 1.5 rounds. I do think there's going to be a finish in this fight, but I don't think it's going to end in the first. So I think that over 1.5 round is a good bet, and it's actually plus 200. So it's a great value bet.
Yeah, I like it. And you know my rule. I've explained this on many episodes of Insider Betting. If a fighter's last name ends in OV, I take the long run play. I play in the long run. And I do think Ryan Spann is very good, and I actually think there's a good chance he wins this fight. But as a rule, I'm going to be stubborn and adamant that I will take Bogdan Guskov. And I think that there are actually like good reasons why, especially because he's an underdog and you're getting the value there. So at plus 154, I actually think this is kind of a coin flip fight. I like Bogdan. I will be taking him to get the underdog value. And I'm considering if I want to save my my pick for my winning method for afterwards. Yeah, let's save it for afterwards. I'm going to save it for when we're done with the main card.
Sure. What fight are you most excited for, would you say, on this main card here?
That's a good question. On the main card, I'm excited for, only because I talked to him, I am excited for Austin Lane versus Junata Diniz. I did talk to Austin. He's a really cool guy, super interesting personality. And also he's a guy that's going to bring the action. Like, that's a fight that, if you want to talk about it right now, we can do it.
Let's do it.
He's fighting Junata Diniz. He is an underdog. Hold on, I have the odds here somewhere.
Yeah, I got them here as well.
Okay.
He's plus 225.
Plus what?
Austin Lane is plus 225.
Okay.
And Diniz is minus 278.
Yeah, so I do think that there's good reason to bet on Diniz here to win. Lane is coming off of getting KO'd at what was the card that Izzy lost to Strickland? I forget which one that was, but Austin Lane lost to Justin Tafa. Yeah, okay, he lost to Justin Tafa, either Junior Tafa or Justin Tafa. I forget which one it was. He lost to one of the Tafa brothers, and he got KO'd. So he is coming off of getting knocked out. But I do think that this is a fight where if you're going to bet it, you bet on it not going to finish or not going to decision. You bet on a finish. And unfortunately, the odds makers are reflecting that too, because it's a minus 1,000 to go to decision. So you have to be very specific about it, about how you're going to bet this. And after we break down the main card, I will be giving my very specific bet that I think is kind of fun.
Nice. Okay, well, let's break down the main card. Who do you got,
by the way?
For this fight, I got Austin. It's an interesting pick. He is coming off of a loss, and then he's coming off of a no contest, the fight before that. The loss, the reason I don't feel too strongly about it in a negative way is because it came in the first round. It came 1.5 minutes in the first round. You know, sometimes you just get caught. It's that puncher's chance, you know, so I feel like it's very hard to judge him off of it. The same time, coming off of a loss, it's typically hard to get the win after, but especially when the guy you're fighting against, although it's his UFC debut, I believe, because I think he's coming from Dana White's Contender Series. And the guy he's fighting against is 6-0. All 6 of his professional MMA knockouts are in the first round. So some interesting bets there, but I do like Austin for this fight.
That's specifically why I mentioned that I have a bet that I want to get into, because it really it feels like there's a specific way this fight's going to go, and I'm all about it. So
nice. Cool. Well, let's look at the first fight of the main card. We have Tim Means versus Urash Medic.
Yeah.
Tim is coming off of a win, but 3 losses prior to that, while Urash is coming off of a loss and he's got 2 wins prior to that. So similar records in the last 5, but one's coming off of a win, one's coming off of a loss. Tim is a plus 245 underdog, while Medic is a minus 305 favorite. Personally, I think that Urash is going to have a good redemption fight. I think he's going to get the win. But what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I think so too. Tim Means has been around forever. I mean, he's just like kind of a grizzled veteran at this point. He's been feels like he's been fighting in the UFC for like 15 years. I mean, he might have been, for all I know. I'd have to look that up, but it feels like it. At minus 305, I am taking Medic. I don't love it. It's throw it in a parlay or go winning method if you're going to bet it outright.
Yeah,
it's interesting to look at to look at him winning by a TKO or decision. I didn't realize that you would give that. It's if you bet by TKO or decision, you're only getting like 20 extra. It goes from a -3. What is it? -320? Is that what he is?
305.
To a -305 to a -280. And if you bet it that specifically, so you're really not getting that much. So you're actually getting some decent value to just bet it as to bet him winning by decision outright, which is interesting. So I just think that you're kind of losing value by betting it outright, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
I agree.
But yeah, I don't think Means is going to be able to. Although I think Tim Means actually won by knock. Did he lost his last fight?
No. Sorry. Yes, he did lose his last fight. Yeah.
He had a pretty good performance in one of his last fights. I forget which one it was. He kind of shocked everybody. Which one was that?
Sorry, I have this backwards. Tim Means is coming off of a win, but he's got
That's what I thought.
losses prior to that. Yeah, against Andre.
Fiallo. That's right. Yeah. That basically like got Fiallo kicked out of the UFC essentially. Yeah. So he basically yeah, that's right. He did it at the end in the third round. I remember that. Yeah. I was watching that. So I mean, Tim Means has been around long enough where he can make something happen. You're actually getting some good value from a guy that's actually like a pretty experienced veteran who has some moves. You know, he's got some tricks up his sleeve. This is going to be no walk in the park. But I think Medic is just at this point a higher caliber fighter, and I wouldn't. I would say this: Tim Means is a sprinkle bet. If you want to sprinkle some money, get some value on a pretty good underdog, I would say Tim Means is the guy to do it with on this card.
I agree. Cool.
So.
Yes, sir. Okay, next fight we got on here. We got Jonathan Pierce versus David Onama. This is an interesting one because Jonathan is the favorite. He's -162. He is coming off of a loss with 4 wins prior to that, while Onama here is he kind of goes back and forth. He won his last one, lost the one before, won the 2 before that, and then lost 5 fights ago. And he's coming in at +136. This is actually my toss-up fight of the night. I can really see it going either way. Yeah, I honestly, I wouldn't bet on it, but if I were to bet on it, I'd probably go with Onama just because he's the underdog here, so you get a little bit better value.
Yeah, and he's coming off of a pretty impressive knockout where he actually pulled off the Izzy. He pulled off the Israel Adesanya arrow celebration. Yeah, he sort of went viral for that. I think he's the only UFC fighter that has done that since Izzy did it to Alex Pereira. So not that should weigh into your decision at all, but he is coming off of an impressive knockout. And at a +300 to win by KO or TKO, that ain't bad. They're basically both +300 to win by KO or TKO, sort of suggesting to you that the odds favor this fight ending in a knockout in some form or another. So if I wasn't to do that, I would consider fight props. Fight to go the distance. It's a -175 to say no. So if you could do a double chance where you could bet him to win, and then you could say you don't have to bet specifically knockout or submission. You could just bet not go the distance, and you can double chance it. So that one interests me as well.
I like that. Cool. Next fight on the card, we had Austin Lane versus Adinias. We actually touched on that one. So
yeah, we can move on from that.
I'm going to move on. Yeah. So this is actually shockingly the fight I'm most excited for here. These are the only 2 fighters on the card who are fighting each other that aren't in their redemption tour. We have Arian Lipsky versus Karine Silva. I believe Karine is... No, I don't think she's making her UFC debut, but she is unbelievably impressive. Ready for these stats?
Yeah.
She's got 7 of her 8 wins, or 7 of her last 8 fights ended in the first round. Her last 3 fights, she finished by submission, and 6 of her 8 last fights, she finished with a first round submission, which is crazy.
Right. Yeah,
So,
she has no decisions.
yeah.
Of all of her wins, she has 0 decisions.
So she's pretty filthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think her last fight came, I think it was on the O'Malley card, a little while ago, 292, and I believe she got like a last second tap there in the first round.
Okay,
which is impressive.
So yeah, they're both on nice little win streaks here, and they both have wins over high quality opponents too. This one is very hard to bet. I didn't look too closely into this. Silva is coming off of wins over Marina Moroz, Ketlin Souza, Polyana Bateo, and Ariane Lipsky is coming off wins of Casey O'Neill, off of Casey O'Neill, and so she's a ranked opponent. So those are some pretty good wins. I like your idea of going with, when it's a toss up, you take the underdog, but I kind of have a feeling in this situation, it kind of feels like Karine Silva just might be a fighter that's being undervalued because we don't know enough about her yet.
I agree. This is actually my lock of the night.
I think you're getting really good odds at what she's giving you there.
I think Karine Silva is going to win this one. I'm tossing her in my parlay. I'll announce this at the end of the show, but I have a 3-fight parlay for the last 3 fights of the night that I've put together here. But my lock of the night is actually this fight being under 2.5 rounds. So not going the distance, and that's -160. So basically doubling your money. I think it's a lock. If you want to get frisky with it, I would go under 1.5 rounds because there's a good chance that there's a first round finish here.
Yeah. I think that's really good just because as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that she just doesn't have that Silva just doesn't have that signature win yet, where I think once she has it, then the odds will start to favor her like a little more heavily where you're not getting as much value. This might be one of like the last times you're able to get that sort of value. I like that. I like that a lot, Adam. I think that's actually a very good bet.
Yeah. So
I might take that as well.
Under 1.5 rounds is +120 for anyone that was thinking of putting that bet up. But
yeah, but at a -148, I feel like it's close enough where like you don't have to get too creative with this one.
I agree.
I
agree. Yeah, keep it safe.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, final fight of the night before we get into some of our picks here that we really like for prop bets. Final fight of the night is Mateus Nikolas versus Alex Perez. Both coming off of losses. Alex Perez is coming off of 3 losses though. I think my lock, and sorry, their odds are -180 for Nikolas. Perez is +150. And I think you have to go with Nikolas. He's been on a hot streak prior to his final loss, which was against Brandon Royval. And I actually rewatched that fight, and I believe it was just he got caught with a knee in the very first round. It was a super unfortunate loss for him, where he just kind of got caught out of the blue there. But I think he's gonna hit his redemption and get the win here. And I would honestly put it by knockout, but there's a couple different ways you can go about it.
Okay. So this is a very interesting fight because Alex Perez is a very good fighter, but I understand why you'd go with Nikolas. Alex Perez, his issue hasn't just been that he's lost his last few fights. His issue has been availability. He has one of the strangest fight histories. If you go back and look at it, like he's literally had like tons. I think if I'm thinking of the right guy here, he's had tons of fights canceled. If I'm not mistaken, I might be thinking of somebody else. Hold on, who did he fight recently? Did he fight? Was it Muhammad Bkfc?
He did, but it doesn't say that they were canceled here in Sherdog, but they've been big names. Like, so Mokaev is his most recent one, but Alexander Pantoja was the fight before that.
No. Look at this. He
Yeah.
had a canceled fight in June of last year. He had a this fight was he had a draw back in June of 2023. He had a canceled fight with Mel Kopp in 2023, a canceled fight against Kai Kara France in 2023, a canceled fight against Amir Albazi in 2022. Then he had a loss, and then he had 6 canceled fights in a row over the previous 2 years. So
Crazy.
Something's been going on with Alex Perez. Coming off of losses, obviously, but don't put too much stock into that because he is going up against top of the division guys. He is fighting top of the division guys, right? He also just fought Muhammad Bkfc, and some people feel like he put up a good enough effort to get the win there. So it's not as if he was dominated by Bkfc, who a lot of people believe could become flyweight champion one day. A lot of people believe he should be fighting next for the title. Pretty impressive performance against Bkfc. I think you're getting really good value on Perez.
Yeah.
So I do think he's high value underdog. I am taking Nikolas with all that being said, but don't count out Perez. I wouldn't blame you. I would just consider all of those factors about his availability and how it's actually, and the fact that he fights such top-notch competition that it might be weighing down his numbers a little bit more than you might realize.
That's fair. I think I said earlier that I would take Nikolas by knockout. I take that back. I had that originally, and then I actually switched it to submission.
Okay, well, I was about to say that you could go this fight to go the distance.
That's fair. That's a fair shout. I had a Nikolas by submission. It was plus 215, and that was one of my good bets for the night. So if you're looking for a decent bet that could hit, that's one. Alex Perez did get submitted in 2 of his last 3 fights, but at the same time, those 2 submissions came against Davidson Figueiredo and Alexander Pantoja. So you can't hold him against that too hard, right?
And look at this. 14 of his 32 professional fights have gone to decision. And for Mateus Nikolas, he has 9 of his 19 wins are by decision.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty significant chunk of fights for these 2 guys that have gone to decision. And you're getting if you pick this fight to go the distance, you're getting a plus 120. So it's actually not that bad to take it, to maybe double chance it, pick Nikolas to win, and then pick the fight Nikolas to win by decision. You get a plus 180. So you're getting better odds on the knockout, obviously. So I do think that Vegas thinks this fight's going to decision, but at a plus 180, I think that's actually not that bad.
Yeah, it's a solid bet. I take that. Cool.
But
well, Jesse, what are your top picks for the night?
Okay.
Aside from the fights themselves, let's hear some prop bets. What do you got on your end?
Cal Machado, we spoke to him. James Lynch spoke to him, and he is a plus 500 by TKO. He's fighting on the prelims. I'm sorry, I forgot who he's fighting against. I have it somewhere. I apologize.
Dontel
Mays. And I do believe that his grappling, he's gonna be in a situation where he could get this to the ground, and we could see like a ground and pound finish. And I just thought a plus 500 for TKO is actually a very good bet for a guy that can get the fight to the ground and that can establish a positioning for ground and pound. I actually like plus 500 for a TKO, so that's one that I would be considering. I also saw. I apologize. I had one here. Bogdan Guskov at plus 225 as a KO. Did I mention this when we were talking about it? 13 of his 15 wins are by knockout or TKO. So at a plus 225, plus his last name ends in OV, you're getting really good value there.
That's how we go.
This is the most interesting one, and I got to get specific here because this one's funny for me. Because obviously I did interview Austin Lane. I am rooting for him to win. But as we mentioned, he's going up against a guy, United Disney's, who is a kickboxer. And Austin Lane is a striker. He's basically like only one of his wins hasn't come by knockout. So he just got knocked out in his last fight. So he will step into the fire with you, and he's going up against a kickboxer. So my immediate thoughts are this fight ain't going to decision. Well, unfortunately, right, I said earlier, to not go the distance is a minus 1,100. Okay, so where are we going to make our money here? If you bet for a first minute finish, you get a plus 350. And so I'm not saying that you need to take that, but if you get it between minutes 1 and 2 of the first round, it's plus 400. Between minutes 2 and 3 of the first round, it's a plus 450. So I'm actually thinking about taking one of those, either in the first minute, the second minute, or the third minute. I'm taking for the fight to end there. I think this is going to be a fight that ends in the first round. So I'm picking between minutes 1 and minute 2 of the first round at a plus 400. That's my bet. I don't know who's going to win, but that's my bet.
Nice. Which fight was this for again?
For Austin Lane versus Yunada Denise, because this is a Lane has all of his fights have won by knockout except for one, and Yunada Denise is 6-0, and he's a kickboxer, so he's going to keep the fight standing. So this fight will not be going the distance, and it's heavyweight. One of these guys connects, and they're going down.
Very interesting. I like that.
That's a sprinkle, though. I'm not telling you to put a lot on it. That's my sprinkle bet of the night. That's like my high value sprinkle.
Nice. Cool. Well, I got a few different bets that I got going on here. First, I think I mentioned this one already, but Nikolas by submission, that's plus 215. Under 3.5 rounds, that's plus 100. I think those are two great value bets. For Spann and Guskov, this one, I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with, but over 1.5 rounds is plus 200. All of Guskov's fights have ended in the first round, except for one, I think.
Yeah.
But Ryan Spann is coming in as the favorite, and his last fight went to decision. It's a weird one, but I like the odds, so I'm going to take that one. But my lock of the night comes for Silva versus Lipsky. I have it under 2.5 rounds at minus 160. And this is my little sprinkle bet to go along with yours, Jesse. Silva sub in round 1 is plus 650, which I think are insane odds considering in her last 3 fights, she's gotten a first round submission.
Yeah, and I like that because what are half of her wins knockout, half of them submissions? What was it again?
Almost all of them are submission.
And you're getting that much. How many?
They're about half. You're right.
Oh yeah, 3 straight first round submissions. You're right, and then a second round submission.
Yeah.
Oh wow, and you're getting those sorts of odds. That's interesting, and also that's going to be like putting her into like ranked fighting title shot territory too, where she'll jump the rankings. Is Ariana Lipsky ranked? I'm sorry, I didn't actually look that up.
Neither did I.
I don't think so. I don't think so
either.
She is number 12 in the flyweight rankings at the moment.
Nice.
So yeah, this is actually, there's some consequences here. If she, so she's number 12 and Corinne Silva ranking. Sorry guys, hold on. She's number 13. So yeah, she would just take her ranking. But yeah, with the first round submission finish, that would put her into some title shot territory or like title eliminator territory. You keep getting those first round finishes, man. Dana White is going to take notice, and he will help you jump the line a little bit. So I like that bet a lot, Adam. I might jump on that one.
She's one away. Look, Corinne Silva is on an 8-fight win streak. 6 of those 8 fights are submission wins. And I believe 5 of those 6 submission wins came in the first round.
Yeah.
So at plus 650, it's not my lock of the night, but it's a very good bet for a first round submission by Corinne Silva. So that's I'm going to put a lot of eggs in that basket for sure.
I'm interested here. I'm going to parlay these two. My bet of Austin Lane versus Yunada Denise ending between the 1 minute and the 2 minute mark of round 1. And then I'm going to take your fight Kareem Silva to win by submission in the first round.
Yeah.
Where do I do that? Do I pick by round? Round props.
Yeah. I believe it was in there.
Round props. Why is it only giving me options for, oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, it'd be like a plus 1,800 if I were to parlay those two.
Nice.
So
that's a solid one.
$10, $190.
Yeah.
Just saying, awesome. It might be interesting.
That's not a bad one at all.
Yeah.
Well, to end it off, I'm going to give you my parlay for the night. It's a very simple one. It comes out to plus 575. It's 3 money line picks. We got Nikolas, Guskov, and Silva all to win. 2 of them are favorites. 1 of them is an underdog. That's an easy plus 575, and I think that's a lock. But anyway, I think we're good to wrap things up here, Jesse.
I like the parlay. I like the parlay.
Nice. Well,
throw in a winning method and have some balls, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I'm trying to make the people money, okay?
Yeah, I know.
That's how you build a community.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and just remember, if you're watching this, bet responsibly. Our picks are. This is not gambling advice. So,
marijuana
anyways,
firefighter. Where's Timmy? I miss Timmy too.
Adam has taken over for Timmy.
It's true.
So,
but Timmy goes down in the Inside Fighting Hall of Fame.
Timmy's a legend.
Yes,
Timmy's
sir.
an absolute legend.
Anyways, this has been Insider Betting. It was these odds were brought to you by DraftKings, and we'll see you guys next Thursday. Let's win some money.
Luck. Bet responsibly.